What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another profile here on TCGU University for the card game UniVersus. Today we're going to be doing a deck profile on Yoshimitsu playing the ultra rare Rose Whip Lash. We had a bit of a challenge this week with our Campus Championship Series that you could only play a singular ultra rare inside of the deck and it had to be one of the Yu Hakusho ultra rares. So, Yoshimitsu, Rose Whip Lash, let's jump into the profile. Alright, everybody, so this is Yoshimitsu playing Rose Whip Lash. I'll just go ahead and toss out the other ones as well. So I think this is a really cool concept because on first glance, you wouldn't put Rose Whip Lash inside of a Yoshimitsu deck because of the fact that it's a low. And Yoshimitsu's enhanced, check a 5. Your next printed mid gets speed, your next printed high gets damage. Or your next mid gets speed, next high gets damage. It does not have to be printed, because there are some changing zone shenanigans we can do. But because of the combo ability on Rose Whiplash, combo enhances attack gets +4/+4. It's basically 2 triggers of Yoshimitsu. So it's a 9 low for 9 for like no reason. This card's super rad, as well as the fact that it's a weapon, meaning that if I check the 2 on it, Yoshimitsu means that I checked a 4 instead because of his other response. So check a 4, draw 2 cards. So it's a little bit of a safety net as we play the card. So interesting stuff. Let's jump into the profile. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that we are playing for Let's Cut Loose. Let's Cut Loose is a very good action that basically is +2 hand size. I get to replace itself with a random card and then pick up any foundation I want from my discard pile. In addition to that, it checks a 6 and it's just a 3-diff action. This card easily could have been a 5/5 and it'd still be played probably just as much. It doesn't have a block, but that's okay because the foundation that I pick up is probably going to be the block that we use. Very good. Maybe in a 5-hander we don't play 4, maybe we only play 3, or heck, maybe even 2. But if you are very determined to have that foundation, playing 4 is not that big of a deal. The 2 assets that we're playing a singular Manji Sword and Fuma Blade. This is Yoshimitsu's asset, and it does some really interesting stuff in his character. Once per turn, check a 7. After you play a weapon card, your opponent destroys 1 foundation. So 7 is a really high cost unless you check a weapon unless you check a foundation card and then use Yoshimitsu to increase the check by 2, and then it's just you checked your 7, they blow something up. But you did use your Yoshimitsu for the turn, so hopefully it was a weapon foundation. And then enhanced check a 5 if you have 3 or more weapons in your card pool, draw 1 card. It's a fine card. It's a 6. It's a weapon, so it's a checks an 8 in Yoshimitsu once per turn. Card's totally fine as a 1-of. It's also got a pretty gnarly block. So I love this card as a 1-of. I don't think it should be played anymore. Moving on to Ivy Blade. Ivy Blade is honestly just a consistency card. Lose 2 vitality after you play a ranged or weapon card. They're all weapon because of Yoshimitsu. Look at the top card of your deck. If it gets the speed, that's rad. If not, you know what your next check is, so you know the next play that you get to do. Do I respond to the do I play the enhance on Yoshimitsu or not? It's a cheating peek at the top of my deck in order to see what's the next line that I do. How do I connect the dots in order to make my kill happen a little more consistent? Very cool card. Once again, I think you don't play more than a 1-of. On to the attacks. We're playing the 4 Rose Whiplash, so the deck is kind of based around this card. But like I said, a little backwards for Yoshimitsu. I think it's a really neat idea that Travis came up with. On to the other attacks, we've got 4 Akimbo. This card's nutty in Yoshimitsu because we want to play a couple foundations. We can easily play 2 foundations, 3 foundations before this, and then go to check an 8 with 3 foundations, and then check a weapon foundation, respond Yoshimitsu, draw 2, only have to commit 1, and then I get to draw 2 off of Yoshimitsu, then check a 5 to draw 3 more off of Kimbo. Because of that, I've emptied my hand in my card pool, which I then get to build down, and then draw a fresh hand back up. So it's so crazy good. Not to mention get damage off of whatever and then get my next one damage if I get to keep playing more cards. Very, very cool card. Very cool card, Yoshimitsu. The Bomb, we have Face Splitter. This combos with a weapon. It gets +1/+1 for each weapon card in my card pool, whether it be a foundation or an attack. So going Rose Whiplash into Face Splitter says Rose Whiplash is going to get big because of its combo, and then Face Splitter is going to get big because of its combo, plus Yoshimitsu's ability. These are just like some crazy big bombs that you get to play on fairly low difficulty. On to the reversals, because in order to hit that combo requirement, we have to play a reversal beforehand. We're playing Forker Splat, meaning that our cool card doesn't count towards progressive by committing a singular card. Very, very strong. In addition to that, if it deals damage, you gain 2, which we already have 29 life, so gaining even more, making our life even thicker, is just a really strong play. Plus, his 1 low block is nothing to sneeze at. I think a lot of people misvalue this card having a 1 low block. Very, very strong, especially as a weapon reversal. A weapon reversal, with a high in Yoshimitsu, meaning that it gains a bunch of damage, meaning they have to interact with this card. This card is very, very strong in this character. If you're playing the All Symbol at all, you should definitely look into playing this card. And then my last attack is Chain Blade. This is an interesting choice. It is a 3-diff, meaning it can be played incredibly early, even turn 1 if you wanted. You could play Chain Blade into Rose Whiplash and then just pop somebody, because the only bad check on our deck is the Rose Whiplash, and then Chain Blade is a 4 damage attack. That's very good. And then Rose Whiplash is a 9 low for 9 on turn 1, which you can't fail the check unless you check a Rose Whiplash. That seems very, very good. On the foundations, we got 4 Artifice Avarice. Drawing cards is really rad, so after we check a 5, I can draw some more. Yeah, we don't have, except for Chain Blade, we don't have any order attacks, so there's not much else we can do with that, but that's okay. We're playing 4, or the original Mecha Ninja. This is a weapon foundation, and it gives pluses to my next check, as well as it covers the other side of Yoshimitsu's ability. Check for speed on a high, or check for damage on a mid. It kind of covers your bases. It kind of says that he gives 3-1 based on your 2 checks that you make. We're playing 4 Stolen Sword. This card says, as a static, after you play this card, after you play this card, your opponent commits a card that is on block or as a form, and then enhance reveal 1 weapon card from your hand. The next time you play a weapon foundation, build it down. Note, this does not work on block. It only works when you play the weapon foundation as a form, so you cannot block with a Stolen Sword, commit their thing, and then move it down. It doesn't work that way, because you didn't block with the foundation, you blocked with a block. Interesting ruling, but I think a fair one. 4 Sense of Morals. This card doesn't count towards progressive, so it's really easy to build mini cards on your turn 1 with Yoshimitsu, and then draw extra 2 cards and then continue. In addition to that, it makes checks, so if you are desperate to draw extra cards, just make a couple checks with Sense of Morals. Find a weapon card and then draw 2 extra cards, block another thing. Playable while committed, super strong. Should be in the deck. And then my last 4 of is Reborn Human. This card's really rad because of the play being a reversal. If an attack hits you, you gain, or if an attack deals damage, mine or yours, I'm going to gain a life. And so I can block with this, reversal with a cool card, and then push through a bunch of really rad damage. It's got a 2 mid block on a spam, meaning it has a low difficulty on a foundation. Very good for building out turn 1. Very good for blocking with. I don't know, 5 check. This card, I can see why it's a 4 of in this deck. Once again, making our life extra big. It's super good. On the 3 of, we've got a 3 Season Guide, just like with Sense of Morals and Ivy Blade. This is just a free Ivy Blade, as well as not counting towards progressive, so I get to build a little stronger. Doesn't have a block, be careful of that. But you get to peek at the top card of your deck, which is basically cheating. We're playing 3 Coiling Contempt. This is a very strong card. If I had made this deck, I probably would have put this card at a 4 of, honestly, just because of the Breaker 2. It does have a pretty fairly mediocre block with a 3 mid, but it's a weapon. It checks a 5 or 7 in Yoshimitsu, and then randomly commit for extra damage or minus damage. It can be clutch if it needs to be. We're playing triple Telekinetic Mastery. This card's been MVP of this whole tournament. Respond, check a 6 after your opponent increases their attack speed or damage at all. It gets minus speed or damage, your choice. A lot of the times, because of the way that this deck works, there are a couple 6s, but a lot of times when you check a 5, you do have to commit a card. So commit a card for minus 2 speed or minus 2 damage is not that terrible. And because of the fact that it is make a check, if we absolutely have to, we can respond to Yoshimitsu and increase that check in order to not commit any cards, especially if we check a 4 somewhere. I'm not even sure if we're playing 4s in our deck. Yep, we're playing a singular 4 if we find the Wandering Pirate accidentally. My last 3 of is triple Feifei. Flip minus 3 speed. It's very good for blocking, especially when we're going for a reversal game plan. The least foundations we can commit while blocking means that I get to play a reversal in order to try and end your turn or end your life, which ends your turn because that's how the game works. Feifei's jumping all over the place. Double Manji Ninjutsu. I think this card's insane. First form, check a 7. If you are Yoshimitsu, you can gain 4. or you add the top card of your deck, and then 4 once per turn, discard a momentum, add 1 weapon card from your discard pile to the top of your deck. I think this card's incredibly good, especially when you have 5-hander syndrome, and you just draw a bunch of great cards. You draw 3 or 5 great cards, you first form with this, check your foundation, gain your 4 life because you're Yoshimitsu, so now you have a starting total of 33 life. And then proceed to play 3 great cards and then wait to do it again on my opponent's turn. I think this card is vastly underplayed. And then the form, discard a momentum, stack a weapon. We're playing, if you look at our next card, War of the Lost Clan, we're playing a 6-check weapon foundation. So just being able to stack my next card, I'm checking a 6 next by discarding a momentum. I would love that. That sounds amazing. At the end of my chain, I have to play this Rose Whiplash as my 4th card. I'll discard this momentum and then play this. My Rose Whiplash is going to come in for 9, low for 9. As my 4th attack, they're dead. On the one of, we've got a singular Sun's Love form. Commit. I draw a card. My opponent can give me my opponent can take a momentum, and I get to draw an extra one. It turns my 5-hand size into a 7-hand size, or 6 or 7, depending on how my opponent wants to play it. And then my opponent's card loses safe, which is really good because Rose Whiplash is a reversal, and that's what we want. Safe is a static on a card, an ability on a card that says it cannot be reversaled for the rest of the turn. So taking that away for the rest of the turn, it's pretty good. 1 Wandering Pirate. After a card's committed, ready it back up. This is really good to cover my bases with Yoshimitsu. This card is basically Yoshimitsu because it increases my check by 2 because I commit my 2 foundations and then respond with Wandering Pirate to ready this back up. And then at the beginning of my turn, beginning of my opponent's turn, I ready this plus another foundation. And so as opposed to +1 to my check, or +2 to my check, it's actually +3, maybe even 4 at the time. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Has a unique, so 2/4 non-block. You should definitely just play it at 1 though. And then my last card is Curious Magnetism. Switch the values. Super valuable. I think this card is very clutch in a lot of decks, and a lot of people just aren't playing this card because of space-wise. I think finding space for this says that you're really fast attacks that I don't want to deal with. Well, now they just don't. Now they're very slow. I can block them, or vice versa. Alright everybody, thank you very much for watching this deck profile on Yoshimitsu, playing with the ultra rare Rose Whiplash. If you have any suggestions of campus championship ideas you'd like for us to do, leave us a comment out on our Discord. You can join the Discord by going to patreon.com/TCGUniversity or message us directly on Patreon. We'd absolutely love to hear your voice. So from all of us here at TCGU, stay learned.